Here we go, guys. Foggy versus Hawk. Classic matchup, even since the Jera Cup days. Back when the game was pretty much at its lowest. And here we are, having these legends go against each other once again. Foggy looks like he's going to go with the Demon Hunter. If I had to wager a guess, Ancient of War will be creeping out the natural first, which is very cheeky, very rewarding, and pretty easy to do with Immolation. And Hawk, with the way his altar is positioned, I would guess that he's going to do the green first into expansion. We'd be surprised to see any real deviation from that. And
I agree.
It is indeed the Demon Hunter.
And you might be surprised, Hawk is coming into this as the higher seed. He was grinding quite a bit. There have been times where he was playing a lot of World of Warcraft or Hearthstone, but no, he spent a lot of time on the Warcraft ladder. And now, in this matchup, maybe we didn't showcase it too much since the new patch. There have been two big differences. A, Demon Hunter Immolation does less damage, and B, the Arcane Tower burns more mana. Both go against what was meta before in this with the strong Demon Hunter.
Yeah, for sure. Both are definitely changes that help human in the early game section of the game, which is the most critical point, obviously. Where we see humans sometimes just lose control of the game very early on due to that Demon Hunter pressure and then the Naga follow-up. So we'll see how it plays out. Hawk starting the small camp, creeping it very nicely, doesn't get the elemental purged, taking a little bit of damage on that militia there, but nothing too serious. In the meantime, Foggy not getting the best pull on the camp, only Immolation only hitting 2 targets. You can actually get it so all 4 are lined up, but it's a bit easier to do in the other position. This position is a little bit tricky. But in any case, is reward with claws +8. Pretty sweet.
Well, if you don't do enough damage with Immolation, add a claws on top. Okay, Foggy. Davai, davai. And that is full steam ahead. Hunter's Hall, second Engine of War.
Wow.
Mass Hunt all in.
I think this is a Foggy staple, honestly. We have seen him do double Ancient of War pushes so many times at this point and be pretty successful with them. Decent detonate. Will he get the last hit on the Ogre Magi here? Oh my gosh, he got the last hit. And he gets Talented of Evasion.
Oh, this is so good! Hawk is getting decimated by Immolation. And this Demon Hunter, what a timing by Foggy. Hitting the detonates, getting the last hit, stealing the item, killing the workers. This doesn't get much better than this.
Yeah, what an opener for Foggy right now. Let's see what items he gets from the shop. Maybe the boots. Actually sells TP, so and the evasion, so it's Circlet.
Yeah.
Boots and Staff, because Boots and Staff are online now. Both items. So all 3 purchasable items. He's going to be relying on that Demon Hunter as much as possible. Actually coming in again without going home first. Pretty greedy move. We'll see if he gets punished for it at all, but it will be hard. Setting up that archer on the left there so the Demon Hunter can maybe escape. Oh, he should be absolutely fine here, but it is not that close. So, not too shabby. And yeah, Hawk, I think, is completely unaware of this double Ancient of War play right now.
Yeah, I thought this is gonna be an early expansion by Foggy as he crept the natural so quickly.
Yeah.
But absolutely not. Maybe he wanted to lure Hawk into thinking the same. And that's also why the Engine of War is on the left-hand side. There will be no scouting and Hawk's gonna be hit by hunts in very, very soon.
Yep. More Footmen going to go down here as well. Only needs 2 Footmen kills to hit level 3 right now, which is pretty sweet. There goes 1. And then we're going to see that level 2 Immolation pretty early on, which will be absolutely devastating. Hawk does finally complete that expansion and looks to be trying to go towards attack pretty soon. But, you know, that's not going to help him, I think, too much in the long run here against these hunts that will be coming in. Really need a lumber mill. And, you know, he's only getting knowledge of that right this second when the Huntress is coming in. And Hawk must be like, oh my god, are you kidding me right now?
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of rare that units are that much of a carry compared to heroes. But this is exactly what Foggy is playing. He stayed out of Arcane Tower range for the longest time. That's level 3. The hunt is on. And Hawk, it was about to say, is he getting AP wisp surrounded there? But no, but I think it's gonna be an AP push into the main.
Oh my gosh, and where do you TP as Hawk right now? There's already 3 hunts kind of guarding the expansion right now. The Demon Hunter can chill in front of your main base. Actually, he decides not to chase any longer. He's going to let the Huntress try and pressure that Archmage, and yet level 2 immolation. Oh, it's level 1 immolation, sorry. Straight into that peasant line. But the claws and the hunts, wow. Just completely takes Hawk by surprise, and there we go. Looking stoic as ever, Foggy in game 1.
100%. Man, this is his specialty. He loves to play with hunts. He loves to play with APs. And Hawk wasn't ready for this at all. And this was Hawk's first pick of the series. Tough series from here on out. He looked like he has no chance.
I mean, to be honest, even if Hawk was aware of the Huntresses, it may have still ended in a fairly similar situation. The Demon Hunter just being stacked as hell, the Archmage being nowhere close to level 3, and, you know, the Footman kind of bruised from creeping. You can see, when you look back at the stream as players are trying to catch up, as the delay is, you know, we're catching up with the delay a little bit. Just how bruised all the Footmen were at that first engagement with the Huntresses all came in. It just looked grim from that point onwards, and the Archmage just being ran down by boots. It's just all-out pressure. It worked out tremendously.
Next up, Twisted Meadows. And now, is it gonna be the same again with Huntress, etc., or is it gonna be a whole different game? Very hard to tell. Foggy is so hard to read because he has so many different strategies. Yeah,
I think, you know, Foggy has grown over the years to be a player that is quite unpredictable at times. I feel like the matchup where he used to be the most rigid was probably against Undead, when he used to play Dryads every game against Happy, or Mass Air, but especially when Dryads then became the thing to do, he was very, you know, consistent with that. He would play that pretty much every game, and I feel like in other matchups he was quite flexible. And against Human, he's always been a wily sort. You know, he can play a standard late game, but also loves the APs and the Huntresses.
Let's see if Hawk can bring it back here on Twisted. All but easy. But he has it in him. He's played great Warcraft throughout the past couple of years. They traveled the world together. Hawk and Foggy, of course. But man, how are you not shaken up after this first game? Completely caught by surprise. And now we'll see the heroes unfold in just a second. And look at this. Mountain King for Hawk.
Yeah, speaking of shaking people up, I think a bolt to the face and a bash subsequently after would pretty much do that
yeah,
through one's body.
Cool to see. Sock has played this.
Yeah, I think it's also kind of reliant on the fact that a lot of DH players don't go mana burn. Especially at pro level, I feel like most tend to go immo and then evasion, which obviously makes sense. It's pretty expensive to maintain both mana burn and immolation.
Yes.
And yeah, perhaps we will see no immolation potentially. Maybe it will be mana burn. I don't know what the best reaction is, but we will see how it unfolds. Mountain King versus Demon Hunter.
Yeah, I feel like it must be mana burn at some point, but that takes away from immolation a little bit then, of course. We'll see about that. But first, who gets the mercs? Hawk gets his own Shadow Priest. Both are starting with the mercs, as it is a relatively easy camp with Engine of War, Militia, Pulse, etc. We get a ring and a potion. This Demon Hunter is so tanky already.
Oh, good lord. Yeah, big healing being it's just such an insane item for the agility heroes in general. It's great on any hero, of course, but big healing just gives you that staying power when normally you'd have to back off and heal or TP. You find yourself in a situation where you're just continuing to wail on your opponents as a result of that item. And on the other side, we have the Mountain King with Cloak of Shadows, which can be a nifty little item at times, but the big invo for him, not too fantastic. Would definitely prefer to see Wand of Mana Steel or big mana.
Yeah. The Cloak of Shadows can prevent you from getting mana burn, so that's kinda nice. You can create some good plays with it. Happy did it phenomenally versus Focus on Turtle Rock yesterday. But yeah, Foggy definitely a little luckier. Plays it also a lot more careful, conservative than before. No big hunt all in.
Yeah, we're actually going to see some sort of transition this game out of the early game, which is nice. I think we do generally prefer those games. But obviously the Hunt Surprise working last game tremendously. Who's going to get the Berserker at the Mercenary camp here? Both are spamming for it, and Foggy manages to steal away the Berserker from Hawk's Merc. And Hawk is sort of forced to try and now steal the Berserker off of Foggy. But Foggy may actually just buy his own Berserker too, and have two. But, oh, the Berserker does get caught though, unfortunately. And that is 85 XP going the direction of that Mountain King.
Exactly, that's the downside. You get the Berserkers quickly, they do a lot of damage, but they cost quite a bit and they give so much experience. That's the balance of having units from the Mercenary camp. And Mountain King, very dependent on levels. Stormbolt level 1 is always kind of nice to set up some bold surrounds, but man, the stronger the Mountain King gets, the more of a threat he is, obviously. Demon Hunter grows onto level 3, puts some damage on him now with gloves and slippers. And Hawk, expanding.
It's quite... I would say it's most unorthodox to see the elf be this passive against human in the early game. So I guess Foggy just going to be reliant on a strong Demon Hunter, setting up a tier 2 counter expansion pretty much, or as soon as he can, and playing some later game. But of course, as we know, humans that don't get pressured in the early game, getting up all their, you know, their double eco online and a quicker tech, you know, they can become very strong and hard to deal with at times. And yeah, Hawk's looking pretty, this is pretty smooth sailing early game for him, just got to play some PvE.
Exactly. He also has a staff. This is something we oftentimes see in Mountain King versus Night Elf staff action. Reminds me of the good old Mountain King versus Warden times on Terraner stand. Oh, that was a beautiful matchup back then. But yeah, this is distraction time. Mountain King coming in and hunting these mercs.
There's the mana burn, and MK is already out of mana. Now he's just a... He's like a knight, pretty much, with Bash. He is pretty good at dealing right-click damage, to be honest. It's not too shabby.
A knight with Bash sounds pretty insane to me.
It does indeed, but you're in the face of this absolute chad of a Demon Hunter as well, and it can be pretty difficult to deal with. Footman taking care of a Wisp up to the north there, pretty nice. And yeah, Hawk kind of realizes he can't do too much. Staffs to the Footman over here and cancels the counter expansion attempt. Pretty predictable play by Foggy. What else is he going to do if he is deciding to play so passively against human?
True that. While it was super unpredictable on Northern Isles, here it is rather standard, but also nice sets up by Hawk to staff onto that scout and cancel the base right away. His tech at 630 is not the fastest of all time, but definitely very stable now with a handful of footmen still. Mountain King strong. It's all coming together nicely.
Yeah, I think Hawk maybe slightly overmade a farm. You're usually at 36, then you get up to 48 supply with the second base. Maybe he had to build the additional farm anyway, like at the Mercenary, for example. But in any case, a 630 tech is very late, so he needs to keep cancelling this expansion as much as he can. I think that will prove to be a fairly easy task for him. In the meantime, Footman being split off into the main base, I would like to see them rather attack maybe the Wisps, because it'd be pretty hard to get rid of this Ancient of Lore. Maybe I'm wrong, it is kind of being damaged. I would have, perhaps a Moonwell would have been a better target here, to be quite honest. But in any case, Expo got re-cancelled again, and yeah.
Alright.
A bit bruised though, honestly.
Yeah, Footy is, I guess, a hair too late. Otherwise, of course, getting a lore cancel is detrimental to Foggy. And Foggy is definitely struggling a lot here on Twisted. Something we probably could not expect. Demon Hunter is trying to chase down the MK, but there shouldn't be a chance as the shop is up. But no potions just yet. But you don't want to run into an Arcane Tower. Priest is ready. And the Footmen, they're still in the south.
Yep, absolutely. I would have liked to see Hawk maybe purchase the mercenaries from Foggy's Merc again with that Footman that walked past earlier. But nevertheless, he did rebuy a couple from his own side. There's currently staying with 50 food, which is solid. And Foggy, you know, the second base is quite a while off yet, and there's no second hero either. So we'll see how this little skirmish in the middle plays out right now.
Yeah.
Hawk movement's kind of interesting. I think he's trying to maybe... Yeah, he's just going to run past to try and get the expansion. I like that. Just ignore Ignore the elf. You're not going to win the skirmish with just footies and a manless Mountain King. Maybe he can get another cancel on the tree here, but I think if he's successful, there'll be a lot of losses for him.
Oh yeah. Whew. Berserker helps a ton. We got defend ready. Stonebolt. Oh, Panda. Mischance.
Oh,
exactly.
so many misses.
I told you, man. Drunken Haze is getting underestimated as a spell. It's really
the mischance is insane. It's like 40% on level 1, I think. Oh my gosh. Is he gonna get... He's not gonna get the tree, is he?
There's no wisps!
No wisp. There's one wisp coming. Oh no, I think this play just... Yeah, it just didn't work out for Hawk. He just donated like 14 foot or something.
Panda to the rescue. And people say that alcohol is not a solution. It definitely was here.
Yeah, that was... Wow, that was an incredible amount of misses. Also, look at Hawk's main base right now. You know what he's making.
Oh. Tanks.
And the upgrades in the blacksmith. Yep. Mass tanks.
I have not seen this in a long time. Demon Hunter Panda against it. Foggy checks this out. Immediately goes tier 3, of course. He can cancel. Can he cancel something? No, I think it's too late.
Maybe losing his TP here? Oh, the Paladin wasn't... I guess wasn't grouped to be part of that surround there, unfortunately, so no free surround on the DH. But yeah, Hawk at 38 can immediately make like 3 tanks and be 50 foot still. Oh, he's making 1 gyro, so that beautiful number lining up won't be quite the case. But in any case, looks okay for him, I would say. You know, tanks are going to be kind of hard to deal with. We don't have bears like for quite some time. There's no Ancients of War. There's no Nature's Blessing currently. So yeah, Foggy missing a few ingredients to defend against the tanks, but they do take a long time to come online. They take ages to train.
Yeah, I think it's kind of easy-ish to deal with them as long as they don't have the super high upgrades. Hawk is working on that, 1-1 already. What Foggy needed was the Panda level 3 at this stage, and he got that. Has a staff as well, so if the first tanks arrive, he can just staff back and deal with them. And then down the road, he's working on the Master Bears and the Talons. But yeah, classic, like old school human play on Twisted.
I think the one thing we're missing from Hawk's side is just some more guard towers, honestly, for defense in the main. How are you going to defend both bases with just 1 arcane, basically, and 2 arcanes in the expansion is a pitiful defense, to be sure. And I think Foggy can pretty much just, you know, kind of dominate this skirmish a little bit. Mountain King is trying to chase down that lowly Dryad, that low HP Dryad, and probably isn't going to get it. Paladin going down. Only level 1 though, does die to the immolation. And yeah, Foggy just farming some XP.
And that is so important, man. Level 5 Panda decimates everything. We get a Blood Mage, we do get Knights, so a little bit of a stronger standing army. And Hawk, I struggled to see this coming online in time.
Oh, look at Foggy's expansion. We have 3 Ancients of War and Nature's Blessing prepared. So yeah, Foggy obviously knows what's up. The tanks do take a long time to make their way over to that base. Oh, Stormbolt and the Demon Hunter does pop that big healing right now, getting full value from that. Mountain King is just wandering with no HP, no mana, unfortunately. Really hard to regenerate that back up without the Pally or the Brilliance from Archmage. And yeah, just more tanks, full choo-choo.
Yeah, honk honk, but how prepared is the base? The Expo is super fortified. The main, not so much, but the Panda and the Bears making sure this is not gonna happen. The Demon Hunter is running circles around this human army. Blood Mage is out now, finally can feed this MK a little higher, plus Bash. That is a lot of damage. The potion was used already, so I think the DH has to leave soon there. Ooh.
Yeah, Demon Hunter will be fine. He should get away. Foggy nicely not just stretching his APM too much, you know, having to look at the Demon Hunter, trying to look at the main base at the same time to destroy these tanks. But yeah, Hawk getting, I would say, okay value out of these tanks. Nothing insane. Probably going to lose all 3, to be honest, which is quite an expense to pay. And in the meantime, 2 more tanks and a third that's kind of trailing behind. are going to have to chew through 4 Ancients of War and an Ancient of Wind to get to this tree. That's going to be a tough task for them.
Yeah, and tanks, they really give quite some HP now, XP now.
Yep.
So Demon Hunter Panda will reach level 5 eventually. Hawk is trying to out-expand with the rat spot here. No ring +5 here anymore, so the item will probably almost guaranteed be good. Still takes some time. He's trying to... Yeah, this isn't working, man. The Panda's having a field day. Wisps are in for the repair. Can you out-expand an elf on Twisted?
Well, if it was Moon playing, I'd say you definitely can. But against every other elf, I'd say there's a small chance. But yeah, these tank drops or pushes have not been the most successful, unfortunately, for Hawk so far. He did manage to keep Foggy on 60 food, which is decent. But look at this, Foggy is sniffing this out. He's seen this play a million times.
He's so ready.
And this expo is gonna go pretty quick. Look how bruised Hawk's heroes are. There's just no way he can fight away the elf army here, and he's gonna have to stay apparently with Foggy.
I gotta say, Foggy is outplaying him again. Perfect counter, perfect position on the map, very good decision making. Everything's coming together. Panda and another bear are split here. Mail this one Moonwell. Okay, it goes down, keeps Foggy stuck at 60. He's getting a little, like, lumber starved and resource mismanaged, but he should be able to get rid of that with a shredder in no time if he needs to. And Hawk, yeah, he's getting some levels, but he's not getting ahead or anything.
Yeah, I do feel, because neither player actually cleared their labs at any point, both are kind of struggling for lumber a bit, especially Foggy now, having to deal with so much base pressure. But Hawk did purchase himself a shredder that will solve any future problems for him. Here we go, the Demon Hunter, by the way, just farming up what he can, but it's only level 1 immolation out of 2 buffed arcane towers. Didn't really accomplish too much with that immo whatsoever. It's just forced into a TP.
Yeah, I take everything back what I just said. That's a few mistakes now. Foggy also not rebuilding the Moonwells in time. He feels like he needs them in the main because, of course, if you staff something, then they end up in the main. You want the Moonwells to be in the main, not at the expansion. And that's a target that Hawk can exploit, and he does. And that was a good minute and a half for Hawk.
Yeah, I think Hawk actually managing this really well, to be honest. He didn't try to do something silly like defend the third base. He just let it go down, pressured with the tanks, as he's been doing for the past while. My only main criticism is a lack of a Zeppelin. He could have loaded 2 of these siege engines to get them across the map like 3 or 4 times faster in the Zeppelin and start pressuring the base again. These Moonwells would never be coming up right now, and Foggy would still be trapped on 50 food. Well, 55 food without being able to make units feels pretty bad.
Oh man, the upgrades are coming together, Cube. It's 2-2 already, and now what? That's really hard to hold. The Panda isn't level 5 yet. Drunken Haze is not working on tanks. Wisp tried a bit to repair.
Definitely ambitious to attack the Tree of Eternity. Maybe the lures would be a good target. Only 900 HP and super fragile. Oh, here comes one bear that's being rejuved right now to try and help in the defense. And Foggy is out of lumber. Wait, he needs to uproot.
Oh no! The lumber mismanagement. He can repair a tiny little bit, but he's getting outgunned here.
Right.
Also in the north, Knights.
Wait, it's so close with the tanks. It's so close with the tanks. He's getting just enough to repair. It's just enough to repair. Wow. The last breath gets rid of that third tank. But the Demon Hunter died in the meantime.
What?
Foggy under so much pressure to micromanage the Demon Hunter and his army alongside repairing his base. And this is the trouble against tanks, is they don't just buy time and destroy buildings, but they take your attention away from the map. And yep, Foggy just lost track of his DH. I think almost any player would have unfortunately found themselves in the same position. It's just too much pressure from Hawk right now.
And there's
third
a lot
base
of time
coming from him
as
well.
Okay, Hawk, man. Strong fighting spirit here. Taking out another bear. Panda has to hold the fort on its own as, yeah, Demon Hunter's only coming back now, but no immolation. Foggy might find a solution against the third base with that, but is it too much exposure for the Knights in the main?
Yeah, to be honest, if Foggy doesn't return home kind of soon, the rest of this base might be going down here. You can't lose the Tree of Eternity right now. You just can't. Foggy, you can see how kind of a little bit overwhelmed. He wasn't mining from the gold mine either. Now he's being forced to pretty much mass repair, but yeah. That's a pretty good result, honestly, for Hawk. It costs a ton of resources to repair a tier 3 main. To pick up Wisps in the meantime. Saying that, the Demon Hunter did take care of the third base pretty much by himself. But to be honest, I don't think Hawk really cares.
Demon Hunter's close to 6 though. Remember Sky versus Creo? WCG? I certainly do. Demon Hunter level 6 can go a long way. Oh, Panda though! Surrounded! Trying to step out!
Dash!
Oh no! Hawk gets lucky! Panda's dead. Level 5 MK.
Oh my god, and after that, you don't want to see 3 tanks rolling into your base to finish you off right after that. That is so brutal. Here comes the Demon Hunter. Staff of Silence is maybe ready on the Blood Mage. Yes. Oh, immediate Dispel. So the Demon Hunter will... Wait, he has no mana.
Nope. And he's not level 6.
Even if he gets level 6, he can't use Metamorphosis even if he gets level 6. As Tyler 1 famously said, you have no mana!
Exactly.
That's exactly what we're seeing right now. The tank's taking care of business right now. And the Ancients of War like, right boys, this is the last stand.
Damn, Hawk! I did not think he has it in him.
Bolt.
Very strong.
Yeah,
he's getting fed by this Blood Mage. The Blood Law is strong on Twisted. So are the tanks. And this MK hammers away 1-1, everybody. Hawk equalizes.
That was a fantastic game. Really enjoyed that one. As people would say, old Remo would say, wait a minute!
Wait a minute! Remo the Sailor Man.
Yes.
I hear him yelling. I miss him quite a bit, but he'll be with us next weekend, of course, when he's back from his trip. 1-1. That's pretty damn fine. Autumn Leaves is the map.
And who said tanks were unusable and too weak to be used?
I never did that.
Nah, neither did I.
Yeah.
Wasn't me.
Wasn't me. Okay, Shaggy.
I can't do a good Shaggy imitation.
How can you do? I'm happy with that.
When he says zoinks, that's really hard to do.
Whew, guys, this is getting spicy here. First map was Hawk's pick, Foggy takes it. Second map was Foggy's pick, Hawk takes it. Both come prepared.
Yeah, that was probably the most exciting match, especially near towards the end. It got for Foggy, it must have been awful. There was so much for him to watch and take care of at the same time. You know, his attention was so stretched between dealing with the tank pressure and dealing with the army pressure on his units and Demon Hunter out on the map. And yeah, I think for Hawk, maybe just use the Zeppelin to get the tanks across a little bit quicker. I would have liked to have seen that. But otherwise, the tanks, we can clearly see that was the solution there.
Foggy is back in his chair after seeing him leave a little bit. Here we go. It is time for map number 3. Who claims match points? Hawk, back-to-back wins. Foggy, keeping the rhythm of the series intact. These guys are really close together. Both have good strategies at the moment. And Hawk, the question is now, Mountain King again or back to Archmage? Do you stick with the guns that won you map 2? Or is it back to the losing strategy, quote unquote? Autumn Leaves will show us the way.
Yeah, Autumn Leaves actually was a map that I used to really not like, especially in its first iteration, and I think after some improvements were made. It's become a pretty staple map that I think most players do enjoy. I see it quite frequently in pro matches, and yeah, quite flexible for human, honestly. They have a couple choices. You know, in the past, they used to go a lot for the natural that's directly in front of the base. It's like, you know, a very no-brainer expansion spot because it's right there. But I'm a big fan of the corner spot. It's far away from your opponent. You have a chance to get far better items. You have the chance to actually get level 3, because that's usually the trouble when you go for the natural in front of your base. So I'm very curious to see what Hawk's approach is in terms of fast expansion.
Archmage.
Yep. Archmage this time. And Keeper on Foggy's side. Going for maybe not the standard creep for Keeper. I feel like they often do the natural first, or maybe the shop. I could be wrong on that. But in any case, it's a solid creep, and the Ancient War can actually move quite flexibly to either the lab or the shop later down the line.
All right, then before we go deeper into the nitty-gritty of the strategy, thank you Sexy Seahorse for the 21-month resub, and thank you Side for the 54-month resub. B2W high, but that's not where I stop, because thank you Nulls for buying a profile picture, just like Sir Samsa and Doomtray. And now, yeah, wonderful indeed, especially Side's beard.
Oh, I think a beauty. It was no less impressive when I saw it in person. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I was very surprised that it was not like a green screen effect VR kind of thing, but it's actually real.
It is a thing of beauty. So, I think we might be seeing mass hunts again, Neo, to be quite honest. I mean, we have a Hunter's Hall coming up, kind of where you might place a counter expansion sometimes. And Foggy going for the second Moonwell and perhaps the second Ancient of War now. He would have the resources for sure. Perhaps it will just be a tech with the hunts though, which is an interesting strategy and quite flexible. And yeah, Hawk gonna go for this expansion creep here. Interesting to see as well. Foggy just needs one last hit or one kill to secure that level 2.
Oh, that is deny by Hawk. Really strong. The deny game of the humans. It's becoming more and more important. Can he deny number 2 as well? Oh, he can't. The little birdie.
Oh, but he denied the last hit on the Elemental, and he managed to barely secure the Ogre Magi. This part is always so intense as the human player. You have to do a lot right, and I think Hawk came out of that pretty unscathed.
I agree. Of course, 2 workers, that's hurting a little bit. Is he aware, though, that this is once again Hunts, that this is maybe an AP push? AP pushes can be really strong. You can build them behind the little tree line where the Keeper is at the moment, but Hawk is already kinda scouting for it, but I don't know if he knows that it's Hunts.
I do feel some human players maybe need to take a page out of Todd's book and have their third farm be a scout farm, just so you can cover another location where elves may decide to actually try and place APs. Because sometimes, especially when you're under a lot of pressure, it can be really hard to keep on top of checking for those spots. But yeah, in any case, Foggy going for the little pool of the creeps here, secures the Merc, but does sustain quite a bit of damage. Hawk was aware of it, but wasn't able to actually take the Berserker for himself. And kind of moves out of position away from his expansion, and now we've got the Keeper, a Hunt, and Treants attacking the Peasants right now. Gonna see at least a few losses here, Neo.
Exactly what Foggy loves. Independent of the matchup, flooding expansions with Treants, one of his favorite plays, and that's now 2 Hunches. Yeah, Water Elemental damage is nice, but it's only level 1, and these Peasants are suffering big damage. So are the Hunts, though. One has to retreat, but it's the Treants that carry this attack.
Yep, and what's really unfortunate for Hawk right now is he is so close to finishing the Town Hall and we'll be able to start production. Oh wait, the Peasant doesn't die. You can finish the Town Hall now and start more lumber production, because the trouble is even though he called the militia at a good time, it would have been a little bit of delay getting those peasants online, because the wood is one of the main issues for human when you suffer so many peasant losses in the early game. But I think Hawk might just stay on tier 1, to be honest.
Huh, okay. Main issue for Foggy currently resupplying the health bars of the Huntress. They were quite bruised, and Moon Juice is indeed empty. Expo more and more fortified. Hawk even creeping. He wants to rush level 3 as fast as possible, but Foggy is knocking on his door once again.
Yep, Foggy charging right in there, was waiting for the 100 mana to generate those treants, and yep, Hawk actually power built the lumber mill with like 7 peasants, so he could try and get a guard tower online, actually returning the lumber early again as well, I can see, to try and get a guard tower started perhaps, which is starting now, but there are no peasants left at the expand, there's just one. They can maybe repair the tower, but yeah, it looks kind of rough for Hawk again, honestly.
And APs are already at 50% exactly behind the tree line as one should. He was scouting for that earlier, but not now. And this might turn out to be a meat grinder here. A Foggy, yep, level 3. Big attack on this Ancient. First one falls, but at what cost?
Yep, unfortunately Hawk here just... You're forced to try and do this against the APs. You cannot let them come up at this stage in the game. Massive detonates. The keeper's almost 3.5 now from getting 2 elementals. And this is level 2 Entangle instead of Treants, which is an interesting choice. So actually the Archmage was not going to get away from that.
Maybe Foggy thought he could get that AM and close out the game. But that is not the case yet. But it's the case that 3 new trees are growing in Hawk's front yard. And that is not a good thing.
Yeah, I think I see now why Foggy didn't go for the double Ancient of War. It was so he could buy more mercs and set down the APs pretty early, because it would be, you know, expensive to make a second Ancient of War, more Huntresses. I like the approach, and yeah, Hawk is in a pretty dire position, to be honest, right now.
Ooh, 2 more footmen falling, all fodder for the keeper. Both players are at tier 1 at the 7-minute mark. And another footman falling. Hawk can't get any return kills. He's calling the boys once again. The pickaxes against the APs. But I think this time they do stand a chance. Relief pressure onto that top AP. He's getting repaired, or it's getting repaired. The one in the south comes up as well. Oh boy, this is looking grim for Hawk. GG.
Wow, the Hunts do it again. I think Hawk will be maybe quite disappointed with that outcome. Losing to Hunts twice already in this series is absolutely brutal. It's just difficult to deal with. So much early game pressure.
It is hard to deal with. He scouted well initially.
Yep.
But then Foggy just outmaneuvered him. It was just too much damage done. Keeper Treants. Great combo.
Yeah. I think I'm not sure if going for the other creep route to get like the further away expansion would have been a better approach, maybe to try and get level 3 secured and have those level 2 elementals. But then again, would it have saved him? And it would have been a later expansion as well. Might not have been enough, to be honest. But in the end, Foggy playing probably what I would say is pretty much his signature strategy against human. He is the elf that loves to AP push them. And
exactly.
Even when Hawk was probably aware it was coming, couldn't do much about it. Just losing all the workers that expand, then losing them all again. It just means you can't transition into anything. You can't make rifles, you can't make guard towers, you just don't have the economy to change out footmen, basically.
Tough spot for Hawk. He's facing elimination now, and he's facing elimination on Concealed Hill, a map where I always say that expanding against mass hunts is impossible. Remo's making fun of me for saying that, but how do you stand on this topic, Quberte?
I mean, I would pretty much agree with you 100%, but I mean, there is no way. There's no way. Like, the first creep camp is so harassable. The expo creep is so harassable by the elf. You can take so much damage from having to deal with the harass and the creeps. The detonate, if it's successful, getting rid of the elemental early on, so you take more damage. If you lose any last hits, you don't get level 3, pretty much. I think maybe you can lose like one of the level 3 creeps or something, but I might be wrong on that. You might have to actually secure every last hit for level 3. And it's kind of easy to give up one of them as well, under so much pressure. And then, yeah, you can't really go to the fountain. The elf can just abuse the fountains over and over again by attacking the creeps, healing up, hiding their units. It's rough.
We do have 13 maps in the pool, and Hawk decided to let this map come through and let Foggy pick it. So he must have a solution. He must have an idea of what to do. Maybe some 1-base stuff, maybe some rush tier 3. Maybe he found a way to brute force this expo. We'll witness this together now, as Foggy has match points and is 1 step away from the quarterfinal versus Focus.
and what a match that will prove to be. But first of all, Hawk still not down and out by any means in this series, but he is down. And yeah, Demon Hunter from Foggy this time. Pretty interesting choice, because Keeper I think is very effective in Concealed Hill, but also Demon Hunter adding Immolation on top of that Expo creep is truly a human's worst nightmare. I would like to see Hawk go for the Lab creep to try and get towards level 3, and then pressure the Elf base with level 3, and going one base instead, and go for a Rifle Caster approach. That would be really cool to see. And we know those pro-humans are very stubborn, oftentimes about changing their approach.
Talk might be listening.
Shots fired. But yeah, we'll see what he does. I really hope he doesn't expand, if I'm honest. I don't want to see a quick 5-minute game or 6-minute game here.
I kind of agree. It's down to Hawk. Like, it's all in his hands. If he gives Foggy the chance to do an AP push, he's gonna do an AP push with Hunts. Like, that's clear now from the first 2 maps that we've witnessed. So, yeah, Hawk, let's see. We got 3 farms already. Will we see 4?
Yep, the 4th farm being a pretty good indicator of what's to come. I don't really know how Hawk is sustained so... Oh my goodness, he took Brilliant Aura on level 1.
And he lost the Peasant.
Because he has no elementals.
That is horrible.
I've done that in my... I've once skilled Farsight once when I made my Farseer, and I was like, do I just leave?
Yeah, yeah.
And I think you find yourself in a very similar spot here with Aura level 1 being obviously completely useless. You can't do anything. It doesn't provide any benefit, literally, when you're level 1. Since you're not spending any mana to begin with, then yeah.
I guess good thing about Concealed is you get level 2 reliably and fast.
True.
But here on a high level, it's...
Okay, he is going for attack. Thank the Lord. I think this would have been a massacre. Hawk is already... Because normally at nighttime, you're already attacking the creeps with like 9 militia, 4 or 5 footies, and your 2 elementals. So Hawk was absolutely nowhere near prepared to do that. Obviously, militia being bruised without having elementals. Unfortunately, just one of those misclicks that can easily happen. And yeah. Trying to find some creeps now. Hawk is currently maybe going to sell a couple items and get boots, is what I would assume. Okay, just dust. Okay, not bad. And I think Foggy is looking for that staff in play with the Demon Hunter that we have seen against one base human quite a bit.
Is there an Arcane Tower? It's on the way.
Yeah,
but
but
it's not
really
there.
Close. I like the archers at home as well. If there was a third, we could like wall off the Moonwells here right now, which would be pretty cool. But then again, Hawk is prepared with the dust. But it might have bought him a couple more seconds. And yep, Foggy just trying to find that level 3 right now. The Demon Hunter will be close. Not going to quite get it from this guy. Actually, I think level 1 Kobold is enough. Yep, this is level 3. Very nice. Yeah, Hawk just trying to get whatever scraps he can, to be honest.
Okay. It's tough. He's tanky.
I mean, what can we say?
Yeah, I mean, also look at these items. Like, this is not what you want.
Yeah, these are all the worst items possible on the Demon Hunter, on the Archmage, pretty much. It's kind of tragic. Not that Foggy got anything impressive himself, but the DS just functions without any items anyway. It's going to be great. Level 1 Immolation. I have to check every time because I don't have the fancy overlay. And
Evasion 2.
Evasion 2. Kind of cool. It'd be very good against a push to have Evasion 2 for sure. Quite hard to use Immolation properly sometimes when there's like sorceresses and other such units, but I guess the silver line for Hawk is he's about to go pretty much 40 food right now, the next rifleman and the second hero. Oh wait. Oh my goodness, that was close with the archers. Nice try by Foggy. Pretty hard to do with archers, to be honest, but wait. 4 damage being taken on the Archmage right now. Not ideal.
No, this entire game is not really ideal. Also for Foggy, mistake. He, like, as much as he loved his Hunters Hall in the first game, etc., built it too late, so lures are delayed. But yeah, he's putting so much pressure onto Hawk when he's the one that's supposed to dictate the game with the first few rifles. Rough.
Yeah, obviously with that aura first, you pretty much just couldn't keep up in creeping speed whatsoever. Taking damage, not able to pressure the wisps, which is absolutely critical for Rifle Caster to work out properly against Elf. And yeah, Foggy just gonna blast that tech button up to tier 3. Add the 2 lures following that, and yeah. 6 archers is actually quite a lot, to be honest, but they're gonna really help in taking out this Ogre Lord right now, which is pretty sweet.
Whew. Okay, this Ogre Lord is trapped. I've seen a lot of resistance from the Ogre Lord in the past couple of days. Sometimes takes 2 or 3 approaches, but Foggy got it down. Item is Talisman. For the Naga, pretty okay-ish, I guess. But yeah, Hawk is on that timer, and I'm not sure if he can hit that Foggy. 1/4 to tier 3. Playing a fine and smooth game without any pressure, without any unnecessary aggression. He knows if he carries this into the late game, it's his, and he plays exactly that way.
I think Hawk is going for an all-in right now. He's already pulling the boys. We have the early Sorceress, and he's only 45 food. Lures are probably both going to be cancelled, to be quite honest. And what's Foggy got? 6 archers? He's going to have to rely really heavily on this Demon Hunter, which is doing work, to be fair, already on that first Rifleman. There's no shop for Foggy either, so he actually can't buy potions. But yeah, archers have a pretty great concave with the Naga right now. 2 rifles already going down, and Hawk just committing to this lore, which I think is proven to be probably kind of a mistake. He's not going to get the kill, I think.
There is Wisp, there is Repair.
Yep. Wait, the Repair is coming in so late. Yeah, now he has to pull all the Wisps from the gold mine. Okay, there's no way this lore is going down. But it was... Gosh, this was expensive for Hawk.
Okay, Hawk is fighting, and Hawk is trying to find openings, but mind you, he's still on 1 base. He's still only tier 2. Is she? Yes! Killed by a frost arrow. How ironic. And wow. Hawk is down to 40 food, a handful of rifles, but that's about it. The workers also didn't really arrive. Foggy getting closer and closer to a quarterfinal.
Players' forces are under attack.
Yeah, I think that base dive was just kind of kamikaze, let's be honest. That was... Like, the first lore was easy to get rid of, but then just committing so hard on that second lore, losing, like, pretty much his entire army. Look at what he's creeping with, it's just scraps. It's like more casters than rifles trying to creep stuff. It's pitiful, this army. Meanwhile, Foggy is a bit, you know, in a weird spot. He doesn't have master bears, he has a single bear out on the field. The Shredder purchase, obviously necessary at this point to get his wood back online and actually get those critical upgrades rolling. But he is pretty far ahead in levels.
What's the way out for Hawk? It has to be a push, but yeah.
I mean,
yeah, I mean as well, but I mean...
He's kind of pigeonholed into an all-in again, like an actual all-in where he sieges the base from the outside. But Foggy is going to get up to like 50-foot bears very soon. And Hawk taking the time to clear out this middle spot, which is offering kind of decent resistance, to be honest, because Hawk's army is so small. It's not going down very quick, and yet Foggy just steals both the last hits with Forked Lightning. Feels kind of bad. Not the worst thing for Hawk, he doesn't really need the XP right now, he just needs to push. There is no other option. But Foggy, 1 bear coming out very shortly, will definitely be present for the push. Another one coming out as well, and this should be Orbit Venom very soon, I think.
Yes, I guess so too. Probably on the Demon Hunter. Here we go. Yeah, good luck, Hawk.
This Demon Hunter is strong, and we'll have to see if that is enough for Foggy to just close this one out. And the archers at the back with Roar and improved bows will be raining down hell on the front line. But the illusion's kind of making it tricky for Foggy to engage right now.
Yeah, there's no Dispel against it or anything. Saves them for lumber. Demon Hunter stands there like a coloss. Like, everything gets burned. He's not even taking that much damage. Forked Lightning into the back line, but archers have Elune's Grace, not taking too much damage from it. Slowly but steady, the Demon Hunter's getting winded down, but there's a potion. He can just pop it, and then he's fine again.
Nice rejuvenation dispel actually by Hawk. They managed to get rid of that, but the big heal potion just covering that weakness immediately, and Foggy not losing a single unit so far.
Okay.
This Ancient War in the front standing tall as well, just chilling.
Yeah, right. It's
Not being damaged, also not part of the fight, he's just observing from afar. I like the pressure on the Naga, to be honest. Foggy not able to really get a lot of value out of that Orb of Venom so far. But just how do you deal with these bears and the ever-advancing Demon Hunter into your army right now?
Well, the Demon Hunter has no staff, though.
True, there's also no preservation staff either. But I think Hawk's army is getting kind of battered. The slow trap, though, working out nicely. There's all 4 bears are currently slow. So, yeah, kind of annoying for Foggy to deal with. The Shredder coming in as well, who does obviously absurd damage if he can make contact with units. And yeah, just look at this human army. Bruised.
Alright. Was that the last chance? Foggy still has 600 gold. His Demon Hunter is not getting any weaker. And Hawk, there's nothing on the Naga. The Demon Hunter is cleaning house. A couple of missed chances here. Okay. Demon Hunter versus Archmage. Archmage far forward. Burns the sheep. There's lamb on the menu tonight. Invo Potion 4 now. Finally the bears are arriving. There you see the impact of slow. But do you even need these bears? You got a Demon Hunter. You just burn away. GG. Foggy takes it. Quarter final for him. 3-1.
Wow. Foggy not able, Hawk not able to kill a single unit in that last fight, to be honest. That was was pretty insane. But yeah, overall, I think we could say Foggy played very solidly in every game. I think also on Twisted, he did pretty well, but I feel like his opener was not the strongest. It didn't really enable him to do what he wanted, which is to get, you know, that counter expansion up early and set himself up for a late game stage. But every other game, just solid execution. I think Hawk maybe needs to think about how to deal with the Huntresses. It kind of sucks to lose those games against Hunts. You know, it's kind of like a quick, cheap-ish win for your opponent, you know, to get ahead in the series. And of course, I think something we maybe all underestimate, those that don't play on a professional level or in tournaments, is the mental aspect of trying to get yourself through a series, being maps down against your opponent, and it can be maybe demoralizing at times to just lose a couple of them quickly.
Yeah, so demoralizing that you want to go for the Brilliance Aura immediately. That hurts. But I mean, given the fact that he had Brilliance Aura first, it wasn't that bad of a game.
No, it wasn't. But then, of course, he didn't actually kill a unit in the final fight, so that maybe that does sort of suggest that.
Yeah, that's not that great. But
however,
exactly,
he didn't get absolutely pummeled up until that point. You know,
Yes.
he managed to actually stay in it, but you know, as I was saying, he didn't manage to actually. Hawk never managed to actually get into the elf base to do damage early on while the elf is teching to tier 2, you know, harassing those wisps. The lore delay was pretty good, but that overcommit on that second lore was just insane. I think he must have lost like 2 rifles, like 3 footies, TP. It was too much. And he didn't even get the lore in the end, which was kind of a disaster.
As a wise man oftentimes says, is too much.
It's too much.
It's too much. What can we say?